Hello and welcome to A Moment in Time with Nex. If you don't know me, I love to read. I read lots of different kinds of books, mostly all nonfiction, and then I tell you about them so you don't have to read them yourself, but you can still get the little golden nuggets and the little takeaways from each of the books. I do tend to do these book reviews live, so if you are here live and you want to comment, I will try to catch your chat while I talk about the book, but I'm also going to try to stay focused for you guys watching on the replay so you're not getting too, or I'm not getting too sidetracked by chat and then sidetracking you as well. So this is the first book of this kind that I've ever read. I've been going through a kind of spiritual awakening this year, and I'm recording this in 2023 in May. So for the last few months, I've been reconnecting with spirituality after taking like 10 years from being completely aspiritual, completely focused on the physical world and the material world. So I've gotten into tarot card reading and learning more about magic and witchcraft. So this book is the one that we are going to be doing today, and it's called The Witch of the Forest Guide to Earth Magic by Lindsay Squire. And I love this book. So one of the cool things about this book is that the cover, the little book sleeve, is, I think it's for runes, honestly. I don't really know, like she might have said in the book somewhere what this is for. I haven't learned about casting runes and reading runes just yet, but I do think this is what the purpose of this is for. But it also represents a lot of different things in magic, like a circle, which we'll talk about here. So I'm just going to go through the table of contents and briefly go over everything that was in this book. But if this is something that you're interested in, I think this is a good book to keep on your shelf. It has a lot of good reference material. I've referred back to it multiple times myself. And if you are new to witchcraft and the ideas of magic, then this is a great first book, because this is the first book I read. And I'm currently reading a new one. Sorry if that was really loud on the microphone, called The Green Witch, which seems a little bit more in depth. It's just like a little more writing heavy, and this one here is really visually beautiful. So I do have a little bookmark in here. I guess I can take it out. I know what I'm gonna do after this stream. I was saving it for a spell I'm gonna do after this stream. But okay, I have a question. Can you guys see this number right here? On my screen, I see this number 500. And I don't know if you guys can see it, and I don't know where it's coming from or why it's there or how to make it go away. So if you can't see it, then fine. But if you do see that number 500 on the door, just let me know in the comments and I will try to figure out what the heck. All right, so as you can see in this book, it's very visually nice. But also, not only is it beautiful, the beautiful artwork, you can see like this whole page, there's no words on it. And even the pages that do have words, you know, there's some pretty big margins here, and it's really not overwhelming with the amount of information, but it's still pretty jam-packed full of good information inside of it. So let's start at the beginning and make our way through. So the first chapter is casting a circle and ritual basics. So she gives you the introductions into creating a circle. And in magic, circles represent, they're a good shape because they're kind of like a protective bubble. So everything inside of the circle is protected from any outside energy or influences. And you can focus the intention of your magic and your energy inside of that circle, and then after you're done with your ritual, you close or open the circle. Both words can be used interchangeably at the end of a spell, because then you're releasing that energy and that magic into the universe. You don't see the 500, Raymond? Okay, thank you for telling me. Shout out to Raymond for helping me out with that. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's something I'm clicked on. If I click on something else, though, it should go away. Anyway, it doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Maybe it'll go away next time I close or open OBS. So she talks about the circle basics, what a circle is, and different ways that you can open or close a circle. And she talks about the ethics of witchcraft and the threefold law, which is believed in by Wiccans. So Wiccanism is a religion, and not all witches or all magic is related to Wicca. And so you can do witchcraft and not practice Wiccanism, but they do have something called the Threefold Law, which believes that whatever you put out into the universe will be returned back to you threefold. And I think that's a way to warn people against using like dark magic, dark arts, these types of things, which I haven't learned about or studied at all. So far I'm learning about earth magic and green witchcraft, which is very, very closely associated with nature, things like herbs and crystals, the different elements of the earth, and nothing to do with even doing a spell like on someone else. You know, you basically do spells for certain purposes and certain intentions, but you don't like cast a spell on a person. So I don't know anything about that, and I think that's what people usually get freaked out about witchcraft. They're like worried someone's going to do witchcraft on them or do like a hex or a curse, which I do believe probably do have a lot of power, but the belief in this threefold law is like if you put bad energy out and bad intentions out into the universe, that's going to come back to you threefold, just like putting good positive energy out will come back to you threefold as well. And it kind of reminds me of the positivity ratio that I've talked about over these last 6 years of being a content creator and having 3 positive experiences for every 1 negative in order to tip the scales in favor of positivity. That scientifically doesn't really hold any weight, but I think the idea of consciously increasing the positive energy we put out, I think it's made a massive, I know it's made a massive difference in my life and the lives of the people that I interact with. I get positive feedback from people all the time, and I really do believe in that power. Kind of like what goes around comes around, you know, but not just like tit for tat. This is saying what goes around comes back to you 3 times. So if you are generous with someone, you know, you'll be blessed even 3 times greater than that. And if you're negative or mean or judgmental or whatever it may be towards someone, that's going to come back to you threefold as well. So be really mindful, use self-control, don't be reactive and aggressive and violent, and instead learn to control your negative impulses and really ramp up the energy of positivity, putting a lot of love and light into the world, especially light. I use the visualization of light a lot in my magic, and I learned all of my magic, virtually all of it so far, from this book. So she tells you exactly how to cast a circle. And you can use a physical circle. You can like sprinkle crushed up eggshells or sand or salt to create a physical circle. What I do is I create a circle that uses each of the 4 elements. So I don't have a like physical circle that you can see. I have 4 points. And then when I open my circle, I just kind of draw the circle, not with a physical writing instrument. I used to use a feather. You can use your finger, and now I use this like magic wand that I found at a little crystal vendor. I'll show you guys actually, why not? Make it personal, right? And then we're going to talk about the 4 elements and how you call those in to your spells and to your rituals, and how you can use those to build a circle. You can also use them, I'm kind of taking some information from this other book, so let me shout it out a little better. The Green Witch by Aaron Murphy Hiscock. Hiscock. So you can use it to create rituals, and you can use it to set up an altar as well. So what did I say just now? Rituals? No, shrines. So you can set up like shrines to the different elements where you focus that type of energy that's associated with each of the 4 elements into different areas in your home, and you can connect it to the 4 directions of north, south, east, and west, and the elements if you like. And I'll tell you what the correlations are there, but let me show you my little magic wands. And I find that, you know, witchcraft gets a bad name. It gets a bad rap because people think about voodoo and hexes and curses. But I think a lot of people like a lot of the elements of magic. They like to connect with nature. They like to connect with the elements and the directions, and to use things like crystals around their homes for decorations or with certain intentions for what that crystal can represent and what it can do. People use dream catchers. You know, there's all sorts of things that people use that are considered like occult or pagan, and they've kind of divorced it from any fear. It's more just the word witchcraft and the idea of doing a spell that freaks people out. But you know, I'm not like using my own blood or anything, any of like the kind of scary, crazy, dark stuff that a lot of people think about with witchcraft. So I'm happy to be talking about this because, like I said, I wasn't spiritual at all for over 10 years. So the first 6 years of my live streaming journey, you guys just got like very analytical, prefrontal cortex Taylor, or Nex, however you know me as. And I like to be able to introduce witchcraft and magic now, and even tarot cards and divination and more spiritual practices, because I know a lot of my audience is like me. We're thinkers, we're analysts. You know, we don't talk about spirituality, we don't think about these things, and be able to kind of show you that even a pretty smart intellectual person can really get so much value and benefit from these things, and really come to believe that it actually does exist. And whether, you know, do I believe in like any major religions and how they define it and describe different gods or goddesses or any of this? No, not really. I think throughout history, people have been trying to define and describe and categorize their experiences with this other realm or this energy, these things that are not defined any other way. We try to, you know, use that part of our brain to give it structure and meaning. And I just think it's a lot more amorphous than that. And that each person's practice is going to be different. And it's the same thing with magic and witchcraft. And that's one thing I actually really like about witchcraft is, at least in these 2 books that I've read so far, they're very open. They're like, you can do it however you want to do it. There's not really like hard and fast rules like you would have in a lot of like extremist versions of a religion. Although you can probably find extremist witches and Wiccans who will probably hate half the stuff or more that I say, because I'm so like, do it however you want, whatever resonates with you, take what you like, leave what you don't. But that's part of what I really love about it, and hopefully some of you will as well. So this was my first magic wand. It is a turkey feather, dyed blue. So just a basic feather, and I would use that to create my circle on my table. It's a coffee table I use as an altar. Like I said, I'm not big on rules. And then I have this new magic wand, which feels much more energetically powerful and didn't have to come from an animal, which I don't love. It's very common to use feathers to represent air in magic, and one can hope that this was found and not taken. Or if the animal is giving its life anyway, at least you can use the feathers for something good and not have waste. So this has 7 different crystals kind of molded together. I don't know how they get it to fit. I just assume they like glue it together and then kind of like sand and shape this edge part. It's very smooth, but you can feel the differences as you transition from one to the next. Oh, at least with this blue one, which is what, lapis lazuli, I believe, red jasper, I think citrine, tiger's eye. I'm not positive about this one. Was it green? No, green aventurine? I don't know. I'm not really sure. This one I'm the least sure about. This is this one fluorite? No. It's really hard to see in this light. I really have not been able to quite place this gray one yet, but this top one is definitely amethyst. So it's connected to the chakras as well, and I like that the point of this wand is actually to the root, because it's, to me, this is like grounding energy, bringing energy from up top and grounding down through your body down into the earth. And grounding is a really important practice when you do witchcraft and work with magic, but just generally, if you're like me and you're kind of like a nerdy, brainy type of person, you spend a lot of time thinking and talking and in your head, kind of up here, having anything that serves as like a grounding, rooting talisman can be super powerful. So that's why this resonates with me. So I just use this to open and close my circles, although I kind of consider, you open a circle to start your ritual, and then you open it at the end by releasing all the energy out into the world. All right. So the elements. And this is about how to call in the elements. And the elements are air, fire, water, and earth. And you start with air to the east, fire is to the south, water is to the west, and earth is to the north. And you can call them in however you want. You can call on the guardians of the watchtowers of each of the directions and bring in the energies of the elements. You can just say, I call on the element of air, I call on the element of fire. But as you're doing this, definitely think about what each of these elements represents. So air is like what I was just talking about, logic, intellect, wisdom. It's connected to divinity, things like prayer, worship, connection with spirit is oftentimes going to be associated with air. Some people say there's a fifth element of ether. I've heard someone else use a different term. It's kind of like spirit as the fifth element. I think spirit is a part of all of the elements. I think spirit is kind of part of everything. It's more of an energy, so it's like omnipresent. So I don't really see I don't have a need personally to have this fifth element represented on my altar or my shrine or anything, but if that works for you, that's fine by me. I have no issues with that. So that's air. It's also connected to communication, so speaking as well as listening. I have a little air spell in this jar right here, which is for communication, helping me to listen, learn, and love. I can talk more about that another time. So then we go down to the south and we have fire. So this is like passion, intensity. It can also be related to the way we actually show up in the world, the things we do, our activities, our behaviors, our energy, really, like in the way that we show up for other people, the way we come across. Things like our interests as well would be something that's fiery. It's again like our passions. Then we go over to the west with water, and this is flow, right? This is fluid. So this is usually connected to heart, love, emotions. Emotions, they come, they go, they change. Sometimes it's hard to put words on them. Very similar to water. It's not so hard of a structure. Although you can use ice to represent water as well, which is a much more structured way of thinking about it. This is also going to be related to relationships and the way we connect with others, as well as being super cleansing. Going back to fire, fire is very purifying as well. All four elements can be used to cleanse and purify different items, objects, and even yourself. So then we go up to the north and we have earth. So this is about grounding, rooting, being balanced. This is structure, stability, even maybe rigidity, like strength, and the physical. It's more related to like our physical bodies, our physical belongings, our money, our homes. These are like our earthly possessions, right? Our experience of the earthly realm. And for me, I love the beach so much for many reasons, and I loved it long before I realized this, but the beach incorporates all four elements very consistently. So you have the sand, and that's the earth. You have the water of the ocean. You have the air of the wind. Usually it's pretty windy at the beach, at least a little bit of a breeze, but even just being in air is a pretty easy element to find. And then the fire of the sun. So if it's a cloudy day, you got a little extra water and air there perhaps. But generally all four elements are represented at the beach. And now, since like learning about this and connecting with these practices, I just go out into the ocean. I feel the sand under my feet. I feel the wind on my skin. I'm in the water. I feel the sun on my skin, and I'm just in bliss. Like I just feel like I am no longer a physical body, right? I'm just like absorbed into all of the elements. I'm absorbed into that experience, and it keeps me rooted into the present moment, which can be really, really helpful in life in general. Present moment awareness, which I've been preaching the last 6 years too. Why is fire an element? Oh, fire, the sun is fire. For you to say it doesn't exist in nature, you said unless you live near a volcano. Yeah, I think fire is very prevalent in nature. I mean, lightning, and the sun is like probably the biggest epitome of fire. It's the hottest thing that I'm aware of. And even the core of our earth is like molten and fiery and hot. So I think it's pretty much everywhere. But you can light a candle or something to represent fire on your altar. And she'll go, like, I don't want to make this, we're already at 20 minutes and I'm on page 16, and I could talk about this stuff forever. So I'm just going to suffice it to say, use the book or do some Googling to figure out what types of crystals, what types of items you can use to represent each of these elements. And in this, she's just talking about calling these elements in, but again, you want to think about each of the energies associated with these elements that you're calling into your magic. And sometimes when I'm doing this, I feel the energy in my body just like, I don't know how to describe it. It's just like I feel energized. Like I feel that energy come into my body and into my space. And that's why it's so important to make sure that you have like things that you can do for grounding, and that you close that or open the circle at the end, so that you need to give yourself time and space before and after these types of energy workings, because you might be surprised how it affects your body and how it affects your energy levels as well, because you put a lot of your heart and soul into these practices. So you want to make sure you take time to rest and recover as well. And then you open the circle from the east and air, down to fire at the south, over to the west with water, and then up to the north with earth. And then when you're closing the circle, you just go the opposite way, anti-clockwise. For you guys, it's probably backwards, but I can turn around if it's easier. Then you close it from earth at the north, over to water at the west, down to fire at the south, and then finally air to the east. After spell care, like we were just talking about. And then she talks about different ways that you can, there's different spells that she provides with each of the associated elements. And I have done all of these, earth, fire, and air, but I haven't done the water one yet. So right after this broadcast, as I was preparing for this stream, I realized that I haven't done the water one yet, which is a ritual bath to enhance intuition. So I will be taking a bath after this broadcast, and then I will have done each of the spells in here. Like I said, I have the air spell there. The earth spell is a spell bag for prosperity and abundance. So I made that spell, I set that intention, and not too long after, within a few weeks after setting that spell, I got an offer to live with a friend for $100 a month for rent. That's like 10% of, no, not 10%, sorry, what, 5% of what I'm paying now? So that's crazy and amazing and awesome, and I feel like magic is very real because never in my life have I paid $100 a month for rent. The lowest I ever paid was $250 a month, and I thought that was amazing and I would never have that again. But I set this earth spell bag for abundance and prosperity. Following this book, and sure enough, my entire intention with this spell, so you write your intentions with a lot of the spells, and with this spell was to find a place to live that would help me towards my financial goals. And rent is getting really crazy where I live, like over $2,000 a month. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So I don't want to go too much into like my experience with each of these spells. It's been super powerful and amazing, and I love it, and I strongly recommend it. She talks about the 4 seasons, so summer, spring, winter, fall. I like how she refers to winter as a time that nature takes a rest, because I've always been very opposed to winter. I don't like the cold. I don't like that everything's dead. It just seems like an unnecessary season. But she talks about, you know, the seasons and cycles of our life, and sometimes we need a winter where we just kind of like hibernate and rest and recover and take that time. Even if you think of just cycles in a shorter period of time, like if you're exercising really hard, which could be kind of like a fire, then you might need that winter to rest and recover. Sleep could be considered like a winter in our daily cycle. So I kind of like how she talks about the different magic of fall, spring, summer, and winter. She gives you different spells that you can do in each of those seasons. The only one I've done so far was spring, because it's only been spring since I read this. But it was really cool. It was also for prosperity and abundance, I believe. Let's see what it says here. Spring magic. She doesn't really call it anything particular, but I did do it on the equinox, and I learned about the pagan circle of the year or something. Is that what it's called? The cycle? the year cycle. I forget exactly how they call it, but there's different seasons and celebrations that go based on the seasons of the earth and different phases of the moon sometimes as well. And there can be like different celebrations for people. I think for me, what I really like about witchcraft is like this has been practiced for so long by so many different people, many of whom have not been public about their practices. We call those people being in the broom closet. I love that. But I think when I left Christianity, I lost a sense of community and some bits of like ritual and the benefits of things like this. And now it's like, as I do these different rituals and I do these different practices, I feel so connected. I know there's people around the world doing the same thing, especially when I'm doing things on the equinox or on the full moon. Like and I'm meeting so many more people now who do different rituals and things, even if it's something really simple. If you go outside and howl at the full moon or something, it's like, a lot of people do that. How could you not? It's so beautiful. Why not howl at it? So it's a way to kind of continue having like a spiritual community and upholding traditions that have been practiced for a really long time in a way that has nothing to do with manipulation or control of people or oppression of people or repression of people. It's about the earth and honoring the earth and all that is the earth, which is all the beings in the earth, the plants, the animals, the humans. We're all part of the earth, and really like being grateful and respecting it. Trust me, I did some fire magic and left a permanent mark. You learn to respect the different elements and the powers of the earth, as well as like working hard to protect and care for the earth as well, and its inhabitants, people included. Mother Earth's magic. So I think here's where she starts going into, so she has different grimoires, which are basically like an index or like an encyclopedia mini of different herbs and spices. She has ones for crystals, flowers. Yep, here's the flower one. She talks about different kinds of salts, resins, and gums, how to make your own incense, metals and their properties. Here's all the crystals. I'm not going to show you everything because obviously I don't want to like give away everything in the book, so that you can still go out and buy it. She teaches you what crystals are sun safe, which ones are water safe, the different shapes of crystals and what those represent energetically, how to make elixirs, how to program your crystals, divination. So this is like tarot cards, which I've been reading, as well as runes, which I mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast. Oracle cards, divination dice. She teaches about the different planets and the different houses, which are connected, like the astrological houses. I don't know a lot about astrology, but she does talk about what each of the signs represent and what each of the houses represent, which is cool. There's just like a lot of good information in here, and it's not overwhelming. This was a pretty quick read. She talks about how to cleanse, consecrate, and charge your items. This is a big one for a lot of you, I'm sure, empath care. So this is like different crystals, different rituals, different grounding techniques that you can use if you are an empath to protect your energy, ways to make different little talismans that you can carry around, and how to cleanse them regularly so that they're useful for you and can be protecting and grounding. Detachment exercise for empaths. Shadow work. This was really cool. This is one of my favorite parts. She has different journaling prompts and then even tarot card spreads specifically for shadow work. Oh, another bath. I want to take all the baths, you guys. I'm sorry. This is an emotional release and healing ritual. Bath. Energy balancing techniques, breath work, meditation, visualization. And then recommended readings at the back, which is a bunch of other cool authors and witches out there spreading good information. So I really, really enjoyed this book so much. I've been really enjoying doing magic and being a little baby witch. Sometimes I feel like I can't even call myself a witch because I know so little, but I do spells and I do magic and I definitely believe in all of it, and I'm noticing changes in my life from it. And even, okay, let's take a moment. Even if you don't believe in anything spiritual and you are just like I was for so long up until very recently, and you're like, the physical world, science, these are the only things that exist. Fine. You don't need to believe in a higher power or source or spirit or power, universe or anything to still find magic beneficial and to see why it probably works. Because when you're doing a magic spell, one, you have to like find a spell, right? You have to figure out like, okay, here's a spell, look it up somewhere. Then you have all the ingredients. So you have to collect all of the ingredients. Maybe you have to go out into your yard and gather some pine needles, or you have to go to the store and get some herbs, or go online and order some herbs or some resins or gums or crystals. You know, you have to find the things that you like. And a lot of this will tell you to find things that call to you. So you might not want to go on Amazon and order some crystal. You might want to go look at like a local crystal shop and kind of walk around and see what calls, see what calls to you, see which piece you like. You know, this is amethyst, like hold it in your hand, see if you like it, see if it has a good spot to kiss. I like to kiss my crystals. I kiss all my stuff. You don't have to kiss it if you don't want to, but you know, if you're gathering, you put all this energy and work into gathering all the things for this spell. And what is the spell for? There's some intention behind it, right? This jar is full of intentions for good communication, to be better with listening, to be better at learning, to be better with loving. So as I'm gathering these things up, I'm focused on this intention, and that's the reason I'm going out and I'm putting this energy into gathering these things, because it's important to me. So then once you've gathered all of the ingredients, most of the time, at least with these from this book, at least with these magic spells, there's almost always a written intention associated with this. You can speak it out loud, but you almost always write it down and put it into the spell. So there's a little piece of paper with "I want to love, learn, and listen" written on it in this jar. And I have 2 other jars just like this one around my house where I want to have good communication. And so not only are you now writing your intention, right? You're coming up with an intention, you're writing it down. All of these things are proved scientifically, as much as psychology can be scientific, to help people to achieve their goals. So whether it's because magic works or because these practices work, they're kind of one and the same. You know, magic is these types of rituals, these types of spells, these types of intentions, focusing on these different energies, being balanced. As I call in each of the 4 elements when I do a spell, I'm focused on all 4 of these, you know, complementary energies, some of which are directly opposing each other, like water and earth. You know, you have structure and strength and stability, and you have flow and letting go and release and crying. And, you know, like the opposite of structure and strength, you have softness and flow. Same thing with air. They all kind of complement each other. So you're focusing on all these different energies and bringing that into your intention and into your spell. And you're believing, if you do believe, which I do, and I'm sure that helps a lot, is believing that these energies are coming in and helping you, which is kind of humbling and also like gets you a little hyped up, because you're like, wow, the power and the energy of fire is like coming into my space right now, giving me its attention, giving me its energy, and helping me towards this intention. So it's very empowering. It gives you this sense of like, you know, like it builds that faith, like this is gonna work. There's no way we could have all 4 elements of the earth and my intentions and all the effort I did to show that I care about this, to gather up all the ingredients, do the research on what ingredients are needed and why, what does each ingredient represent. And as you're adding it to your bag or your jar or your bowl or whatever you're making your spell, your envelope, I did one time in an envelope, you're focusing on the intention of these items. You're being mindful. You're not rushing through it. You're going through the motions, you know, this whole time you're focused on this intention. And then you put it somewhere. So for me, my spell bag for prosperity, my earth magic, is in my purse next to my wallet. And a lot of times I reach in to grab my wallet and I feel the bag and I remember, oh yeah, my magic spell is in there with the citrine and the different ingredients that are in there, with my intention to find a place to live that will help me towards my financial goals. So it's a constant reminder, depending on what it is. You know, the fire ceremony I did was just at that moment, but like I said, it left a permanent mark. So every time I see that mark, I think about that fire spell and all of the things that I let go of and purified. And every time I see these communication jars, I remind myself to listen, to love, and to learn. So even without the spiritual aspect of it, which I very do much believe in, you don't even need that to get the benefit from this. And I've been really happy. I'm happy to report that a lot of people that I tell that I'm into witchcraft and I'm studying this stuff, almost all of them, like their first reaction is like, do a spell on me, help me get rich, or help me find love, or, you know, and it's like, I don't know how to do any of that. I can teach you how to do spells for yourself just from this book. But it's nice to see that people are open-minded to these kinds of things, and they're not afraid of magic, and they're not afraid of the word witchcraft. And that is very encouraging to me, because some people, like my father, say that magic and witchcraft 100% definitely work, but it's because it's powered by the devil, which I think is an unfortunate belief, because where are you even getting this belief of the devil from? The Bible? And so many of the things that are taught in the Bible are really basically like anti-human, you know, they're really not good for like healing the planet. And all of witchcraft, okay, maybe I shouldn't say all, because all of what I've learned so far, so let's say earth magic and green witchcraft, is all focused on like caring for the planet and all of its inhabitants, and just kind of putting more light and love into the world. And anything that wants to do that, whether it's in the name of religion or magic or witchcraft, or just someone wanting to be nice and good and positive and leave a good impact on the world, I say more power to them. So this is my little intro into magic. There will probably be a lot more to come from that. The name of the book is in the title. It's The Witch of the Forest Guide to Earth Magic by Lindsay, Squire. I know it's probably hard to see, but it's in the title of the video as well. Thanks for asking, TM. The sun, yep. Positive witchcraft has been around for 500,000 years. Whoa, longer than religions. The book is, no, The Green Witch is the one I'm gonna do next. So I actually haven't finished reading The Green Witch. I know I confused you guys probably by talking about this one as well. This one I'm currently reading. I'm 60 pages into this one. So there's still a lot for me to read here, but this will be one of my upcoming book reviews as well. If you haven't subscribed already and you like this kind of thing, there will be at least one other witchcraft related book. I do have one called Crystal Spells, which I think I have in here. I may have packed it away, in which case I will not be able to do a review on it for a while, but I do plan on doing, I think there's another 1 or 2 books that I need to review before I move, so stay tuned. And if you want to see my other book reviews from before this one, you can go to the books playlist on my YouTube channel, and you'll see everything there. I also live stream on Twitch. I do Tarot Tuesdays, where I read, at least right now when I'm doing this live stream. So tomorrow I'll be doing Tarot Tuesday on Twitch, where I'll be reading tarot cards for the community. And on Thursdays we do community nights at 10 p.m. Eastern time, both on Twitch. And then intermittently, sporadically, I stream on Instagram, soon on TikTok. I'm less than 25 followers away from being able to stream on TikTok again. Been banned over there twice. And I stream on an app called Bigo right now as well, a little bit. I'm kind of moving away from that one, so maybe join the Discord server. It's a good way to keep in touch with me, and you can also sign up for my email list. So my website is my username, nexjuice.com, NexJuice.com. Raymond said the Bible was written by man to keep other people under control. I completely agree, and although I think a lot of the teachings that are accredited to Jesus were really great, especially things about not being hypocritical, you know, let he who has not sinned cast the first stone. Yes, I can get down with that. Before you work to take the speck out of your brother's eye, first work to remove the log from your own. You know, it's like kind of like just work on yourself, focus on yourself, like lead by example. You know what Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. You know, it's so, like I see that so much where people are so negative about other people, and now I'm doing it right now, really. I mean, it's like this vicious cycle where it's like, oh, we just want to like criticize these other people for what they're doing, and then it's like we're just feeding that energy more. So why don't we just be the kinds of people that we want other people to be? Because you attract someone that I know, I don't know how to refer to them, once said something that I really liked. And he said, you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. So I think that's the same kind of thing, like birds of a feather flock together, or your vibe attracts your tribe. If you want to be surrounded by beautiful, loving beings of light, be a beautiful being of light. You will automatically start to see those people around you. You'll see each other. You'll see each other's light. You'll see like, you can see or feel or sense that energy difference, and you start to clump up, and you'll start to, like, I feel like I make new friends all the time, and I'm starting to find more and more like events and places to hang out and socialize that are much different than like a mainstream like nightclub or a bar. And that has been a beautiful experience because I'm connecting with more like-minded people, and they're all inviting me to other places and events, and I'm telling them about places I know and events I know about, and we're all kind of like breaking out of the herd in some way, but it's like not even like we're trying to bring as many people with us as we can, right? Let's all live life the best way that we want to. I know we don't all want to go to a drum circle on the beach, but if you do want to go, like, let's all go together because it's way more fun with a lot of people. But that could be my extrovert side talking. So yeah, you know, just be the change you want to see in the world. I like that. But I got distracted. So the teachings of Jesus, I love, I can get down with mostly. But you don't need the whole Bible to tell people to treat others the way they want to be treated, and don't be a hypocrite. You know, there's a lot of junk in there that's not necessary. So I agree that it's not the best. But, you know, anything that can be used for good, I'm fine with. So I hope you enjoyed this review of The Witch of the Forest's Guide to Earth Magic. I'm gonna go take this bath. And I hope I see you guys for Tarot Tuesday tomorrow on Twitch. Same username over there, NexJuice, NexJuice. And like I said, my website's nexjuice.com. There should be links and everything in the description of this video. And I will be doing some more book reviews soon. I also, if you sign up for the email list, I also do written versions of the book reviews, which are much more concise than this like 42-minute book review video. Positive feeds positive. Yeah, positive feedback loop. For sure. I love that. Thanks for being here, Raymond and TM. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Ooh, it's 1 in the morning. Mwah, mwah, mwah. This has been a Moment in Time with Nex. Expreme DM. Squeeze the day. Hope to see you for Tarot Tuesday tomorrow. Good night. Oh, I gotta click the button. Wait. The juice. Yeah. Bye. Oh, remember, you are worthy of being loved and feeling comfortable in your own skin, whether you're a witch or not, whether you're a Christian or not, whether you're an atheist or not. We should all be free to be loved and comfortable in our own skin. So let's create a world that allows people to express themselves the way that they want, with the exception of violence. That's my only rule, okay? There might be more rules, but you know, let's start there. Let's